Hello everyone. Today I will be discussing my W.D Gaster theory and why I don't think this is actually him. Or this for that matter, which I will get into later. But before I explain why I think that, I think I should go over why most people think this is W.D Gaster. Also PS Deltarune/Undertale spoilers if you haven't played or watched any of them. W.D Gaster is a very weird character that we know little about. First I would like to go over what we definitely know about them. All we really know about them is that 1. They were the royal scientists before Alphys, and was spread across space and time, and 2. That they mysteriously disappeared one day after he fell into his creation. And that's about all we know definitively about them. There is also entry 17, which is presumed to be W.D Gaster. While technically only a theory, I do think it's right that it is Gaster. The reason why entry 17 is presumed to be W.D Gaster is because entry 17 is entirely in wingdings. The theory being that the W.D in W.D Gaster stands for wingdings, and the Gaster part of their name is very close to a font named Aster, just with an extra G. The fact that W.D Gaster has 2 fonts in its name and that there are 2 other characters also named after fonts, Sans and Papyrus, it is presumed that they are in fact somehow related to each other in some way, likely being a skeleton just like Sans and Papyrus. But again, technically being only theory, like entry 17. I personally agree, like most other people do, that they are somehow in some way connected to Sans and Papyrus. With my basic summary of W.D Gaster over, it's time to get into why most people think this is them. This sprite in the files is called Mystery Man, and while in the game is very hard to get to under normal circumstances, it's entirely possible you can get to him legitimately. As you may or may not know, there is a random number generator in the game called the fun value. That is randomly picked once you start a new game. Though you can fairly easily edit this number in the game's files. These fun values range from 1 to 100. These fun values have a random chance of something or someone appearing at a certain point throughout the game. While not all of them, most of these are related to Gaster in some way. Most of them being these monsters called Gaster's followers in the code, and they're all very similar to each other, each look very similar to already existing characters but just being gray tone. Gaster followers after interacting with you will all disappear with the exact same sound. And sets your fun value to 0, meaning you can't find any of them again. Unless you reset and somehow get the same fun value again. Or you could just hack the fun values yourself. I'm not going to go into much of what the Gaster's followers say to you because this video is probably going to be long enough in itself. I think they are definitely important to Gaster's story. I don't think it's important enough for my theory on him, so if you just want to know more about W.D Gaster or what the Gaster's followers say, there are plenty of people who have gone over it, so go watch them and give their channels some love. Anyway, the reason why the fun events and Gaster's followers are so important is that to find the Mystery Man you need to have a fun value of 66. Now remember the number 6 for later, it's very important to W.D Gaster as a whole. Where even if you manage to somehow get a 66 fun value, which remember it's a 1 out of a 100 chance of getting, which you cannot control in any way legitly, there is only a 10% chance of them even showing up. So after somehow getting either perfect luck or just hacking the odds, you can finally step through the door and see what's inside. And that's it. That's the whole thing. Now maybe you missed it or maybe you didn't, but they made the exact same sound as the other Gaster's followers do when they disappear. Which almost definitely links the Mystery Man like the other followers to W.D Gaster. That and the other fun events, most of which linking to W.D Gaster in some way, is one of the main reason people think that this is in fact W.D Gaster, that and one other thing, which is the number 6 motif, which I will go into now. The main reason the number 6 is connected to Gaster is actually hidden in the game files of Undertale. You see, there are hidden stats in the game for WD Gaster, and as you can hopefully see now, they're all 6s. And possibly even in Deltarune's code as well. This and the fact that when Deltarune first launched, the file version was 0.6.6.6. Also, when you first load into Deltarune, you're presented to make a vessel, which it is presumed to be Gaster talking to you for a multiple of reasons, mainly how they talk in all caps exactly like entry 17, which is in all caps Wingdings. Also in the Japanese version, whoever it is talks a lot like the person in entry 17. So to summarize the correlation between the number 6 and the fact that meeting them, it's related to a fun event like the rest of the Gaster's followers, is the reason why most people think this is WD Gaster. So why do I think that this isn't Gaster? To be honest, there isn't a lot of evidence to support it. Now, hearing that, some of you might be a little upset, which I 100% get. This is something that many people think is Gaster, and most people think it's 100% canon at this point. But I ask you, please save judgment till after you at least heard what I have to say. Okay, take away the Gaster follower connection for just a second, I will get back to that later. We really don't have much to connect this to Gaster, just the number 6 connection and the fact that the mystery man kinda looks like a skeleton, and that's about all. And that isn't much evidence in of itself, just really the 6 motif, which could very easily be written off in several ways, like the fact that all the other Gaster's followers use 6 in their encounters, granted not the number 66, but it still proves my point. I just realized that I haven't made a very important distinction up till now, so I'll say it now for the sake of clarity and so I can get along with the rest of my theory. I am 100% sure that the mystery man is connected to Gaster. But that doesn't mean that I think the mystery man is Gaster. I think whoever the mystery man is connected to Gaster, just like the rest of Gaster's followers. Just because you're somehow connected to Gaster doesn't mean you are the person themselves. Got that? Okay, let's talk about Gaster's followers some more. Again, as I kinda explained, the Gaster's followers are connected to WD Gaster. I think the mystery man is meant to be in the same vein as them, connected but separate from Gaster, and the fact that they disappear in the exact same way and even make the exact same sound as the other Gaster follower when they disappear connects them way more to the Gaster's followers than to WD Gaster himself. And going back to the number 6 motif, it could have easily been a red herring by Toby Fox to fool people. Though speculation on my part, I wouldn't put it past him that this is something he would do. With all the connections, the mystery man being easily explained to be a connection to WD Gaster like the rest of the followers, and the 6 motif the same, easily being able to be explained as either a red herring or even just by chance. The only thing really connecting the mystery man to WD Gaster is that they kinda look like a skeleton. And that isn't that much. There is also one more thing I would like to mention before moving on to this. And it's the fact that this sprite is called Mystery Man. Now, why that's important is because the prefix man is usually in reference to humanity as a whole. One example of this that I can think of is in Toriel's house, in which she has gingerbread monsters instead of gingerbread men, implying the man in gingerbread men stands for humanity. And in Deltarune, Toriel also has gingerbread monsters and gingerbread humans, and again this makes sense since there is very likely more humans in the Deltarune universe than in Undertale's underground. Now, I'm not saying that the mystery man is human. Even if he was human, why they would be in the underground? And I honestly don't know why or what this means for the greater Deltarune/Undertale story, but I think it's somewhat implied that they might have been linked to humanity in some way given the context as a whole, but it's something that I thought I would mention. That this is very likely deliberately named the Mystery Man. The fact is, it could have just as easily been Mystery Person or Mystery Monster or simply just Mystery. No, the fact that it's named Mystery Man is likely very intentional. While I believe that there isn't much to disprove that the mystery man is in fact W.D. Gaster, the evidence to show that they are W.D. Gaster can mostly be explained to be a link to Gaster just like the rest of his followers. Okay, now to move on to this one. Again, this is getting long, so I'll keep it short. A small number of people also think this could also be W.D. Gaster due to the fact they speak in wingdings. Though a compelling argument, since it's really the only thing we more or less know about Gaster. That's really all the evidence that it has going for it. I think this can be explained like many other people have before as just used for testing. And why I personally think that Toby Fox would test this is because I think in the original plan for the game, it's very likely that wingdings was going to be a lot more prevalent throughout the game. This is more speculation on my part, but I believe that Gaster's followers, given their connection to Gaster, were likely originally going to speak in wingdings, but were likely cut for one reason or another. If I am right in thinking that wingdings were going to be a lot more prevalent in the game originally, then it makes sense you would want to make something to test it and make sure it's right. And whatever this thing is, I think it's very unlikely that Toby Fox would make W.D. Gaster not accessible by normal means. Though very hard, it's entirely possible to get to Gaster's followers and the mystery man by normal in-game means. No matter how hard it is, it's still entirely possible to see, while this on the other hand you can't see by normal means. You have to hack the game and go into an unused room. It is very likely that whatever this is, that it has nothing to do with Gaster and is only in the game files, because wingdings was likely intended to be a lot more prevalent in the game. Which makes sense to test for it if it was meant to be a lot more prevalent. But for one reason or another, when wingdings were all but scrapped, at least for normal in-game use, and this was left in the game files. Now for my final thoughts. While I don't think this is W.D. Gaster, or this for that matter, I think that the true appearance of them is likely not in the game and that we haven't seen them yet. Though I have to admit, while I don't think this is Gaster, if I had to pick a character that is in Undertale to be W.D. Gaster, I would pick them, and I think that they're the most likely candidate to be W.D. Gaster that we know of. Though I still don't think this is actually them. But if you agree or completely disagree or think that I missed something, feel free to comment them down below. I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you want to see more content like this, consider liking or even subscribing so you don't miss out. And likely soon after I uploaded this, I probably started on my next script, so it should be out relatively soon. So again, thank you for all of your support and have a lovely day. Goodbye. Actually, I would like to say a few more things before you go. Number 1, sorry this took so long. The recent Reddit blackout happened and I wanted to hold off on publishing this video till it ended so I could share this with more people, but it doesn't look like it will be ending anytime soon, so I decided to publish it now. So if you watched this so far and liked it, could you please share? Secondly, since this video took so long, I would like to tell you about the plan for my next video, where I will be talking about my predictions for Chapter 3 of Deltarune. While it might take a while to make, I hope it won't take as long as this one did. But no promises. So yeah, that's all, and thank you for watching. See ya.